Ladies and gentlemen, the following fight is scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds of amateur Muay Thai at 72 kilos. Introducing your first fighter, fighting out of the blue corner, representing Sunan Thai Boxing Norway, presenting Christian Introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, representing Jai Suabre, presenting Oren O'Donnell.
Our penultimate amateur bout of the evening, 3 2-minute rounds at 72 kilos. Out of the blue corner, representing Sunan Thai Boxing, Christian Aletsi, taking on Oren O'Donnell, representing Jai Sua, out of the red corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Smith to the ring, please. Sean Smith to the ring.
Final checks and balances done and dusted. We are ready to go. One more amateur bout after this, then on to our full pro main card. Phil Campbell, Mark Castley on the call. This is Deliverance.
Straight away we see this, which is, I think, synonymous with a lot of amateur matches, high energy. I think as an amateur as well, you want to get them early knockouts, but then you realize later on you want to get the rounds in as you get more experience to get that timing in the ring.
More a slip off the kick than anything else there. You know, as we say, we see these fighters get into almost an aggressive clinch a lot of the time in the start. Would it be more beneficial for a fighter to not expel that energy so early? Because a lot of the time you're not going to get, more often than not, it's going to be difficult to get that quick finish.
Yeah, what you find though in amateur fighting, fighters, well, even at the best of times, fighters don't recall exactly what happened, which would go to show that they're more acting on intuition in the ring than they are on purposeful action. So these guys are going to what feels normal. So if it's aggression in the clinch, they nearly match it back in equal or higher intensity. So as they get tired, I think sometimes it's a nice little switch to remind them, hold on a second, catch the kick, check the kick, give it back. Now we can see things even get more, it's evolved into a little bit more technicality now.
Christian almost sneaked through with a head kick there again. He's trying to find a home for that. Like, it's the trajectory of it is coming up more at more.
He's a big guy. Like, that doesn't even need to make full contact. If that shin even hits mid forearm and wraps around the neck, that can stop a match.
Well, even landing on the arms, this is something that doesn't necessarily get talked about. If even kicks landing on the arm can be debilitating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, we've seen the likes of broken arms happen in situations like that.
Yeah. I think we actually had one on the last Deliverance show. We had a guy in the pro section of the night taking it on the arm. But again, a lot of these bruises and hard-hitting shots are probably mostly felt the very next day. Again, quite an even round there.
Very difficult round to score. Both fighters.
Yeah.
You know, when they initially broke from that clean first round by either fighter, and it's become a little bit of a hallmark of some of the fights we've seen where you're showing your hand incrementally as the fight progresses.
Yeah. And we can hear the corners shouting for kicks because even they're recognizing that the clinch.
It doesn't benefit either fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Catch and release.
But at least in round two, both fighters have a better sense of what it feels like. To go from walking out on that platform to a crowd cheering to fighting it can feel like a different universe if you're not locked into the zone.
They're playing in the clinch, but it's almost at a distance clinch that both fighters are trying to frame away.
Yeah. Again, we'll hear the crowd corners cheering for the knees. Again, if one very simple strategy to win by either fighter is just to hit more shots than the other one, just double up on the one shot that's successful, could clinch a round for them. And there's always a point in a match where we'll have diminished returns, where the fighter isn't going to get faster or they're not going to hit any stronger. Now, I think we've hit that point where don't think we're going to see a fighter go 0 to 60 with a shot. So it's going to be about work, effort, and volume, I think, at this point.
Like you say, if fighters are relatively inseparable in the context that comes out to work rate, output.
Absolutely, and it's down to maybe a few reasons. It can be they're really well matched, which is a great thing in Thai, but as the sport evolves, that's what we need, really good, accurate matches to progress the sport and the fighters. So this is what we're seeing here, very well matched fighters by the promotion. These guys will get better as they spar when this situation becomes more familiar.
I think fatigue is starting to be a little bit of a factor here on the point of O'Donnell.
And it's funny because I guarantee if you look at these guys' training schedules, they probably do 2-a-days, hill runs, sprints.
But as we know, the being in the actual ring, the cage, and doing it, you could spar 10 rounds quite happily and wonder.
Playful rounds.
Would you advocate for the likes of fight simulation?
Oh, absolutely. And there's a huge amount of study in skill acquisition, how athletes develop skill. First of all, it has to be done in a relaxed environment, and then it grades upwards to more stressful environments. So that means lots of rounds sparring in gym. I mean 40 rounds a week, but 50-60% power.
I think that the corner of O'Donnell have told him that the corner of Christian have maybe told him that the corner of O'Donnell's maybe feeling the fatigue, put the pressure on him from the get-go.
Yeah. This is where we've seen it already, that psychological switch goes on. A second ago, if you asked that fighter, can you do 3 more rounds? They'd say probably no. But if they see the grimace in their opponent's face, all of a sudden it's a new, oh, what a head kick. It's a confidence builder.
3 in a row. Again, credit to O'Donnell. He's standing there able to take it. And he's still firing back. You have to give him credit.
Yeah.
He's still trying to be as offensive as he can.
Listen, every fighter has to have heart, and it's something that
you can't teach.
Yeah. If you've got something in there, you can definitely make it a little bit stronger, and it's definitely an asset. But too much heart, you're going to get hurt as you go up the grades.
You have to want to be in there and in there for the right reasons.
Yeah. Now, these two guys have shown a warrior's heart to get in there. Again, like we've said earlier on, I would love to see them in their next matches being able to show a point of difference when it comes to aggression and scoring against their opponent.
Big deep breaths being taken by O'Donnell. And in around 20 seconds left.
And even that, the fatigue factor can make up the judges' minds. If there's no
it's the aesthetic
visual
of
damage,
it,
it's showing that there is effect.
You get the feeling that if Christian just keeps with this level of output, there it is.
Correction, ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, your judges have scored the fight in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. Fighting out of the blue corner, Christian. Please,